I, Forum Patel, welcome you all to the fifth video of the interpretation of the statutes. Now friends, in the previous video we discussed about the plain meaning rule, or rather the literal rule, as a part of the interpretation of the statutes rule, primary rules. Alright, so in this video we shall be discussing about the golden rule. When we are talking about the golden rule, we must not forget that these rules are the tools which are there with the judiciary to interpret the statute when any ambiguity is created because of the interpretations. So, golden rule, when we are talking about, friends, it is one of the rules which is called as also the modificatory rules, or rather it is the modifications which has been given to the literal rule. Now, it is also known as the golden rule because it solves all the problems of the interpretations, generally speaking. The rule says that to start with, we shall go by the literal rule. However, if the interpretation given though through that literal rule leads to some or any kind of the ambiguity, or rather injustice or inconvenience or hardship or inequality, then in all such events the literal meaning shall be discarded and events of the literal meaning and the interpretation according to that, it shall be done in such a manner that the purpose of the legislation is fulfilled. That means, my friend, this rule is talking about application of the literal rule at the first instance, and if application leads to any injustice or ambiguity in the application of the rules and any undesirable hardship or inconvenience to the justice providers, then this rule must be made applicable. This rule is there which this rule will be there to help us understand the purpose of the legislations which needs to be fulfilled. Now the literal rule follows the concept of the interpretation of the natural meaning of any words which has been used in the statute. But if such interpretation of the natural meaning that leads to any sort of repugnancy or absurdity, then the injustice will be there. Now, can you do that? I mean, can we do that just because of the limitations of the tools that are there with the justice providers? Then the answer, my friends, is no. We must never do that. So to avoid the limitations, or rather to come above the limitations that are there lying, the disadvantages that are lying because of the literal rule, this rule came into existence. This rule also helps us to grammatically construct the statute. Now, grammatically construction of any statute would also help us to understand the laws in a better way. That means, my friends, that we will be able to understand the whole statute in a rightful manner along with understanding of the intentions of the legislation, which is the prime importance which we need to fulfill. In one of the cases, as you can see on the screen, the Tirath Singh versus Bachita Singh in 1955, in this case there was an issue with regard to issuing of the notice under section 99 of the Representation of Peoples Act with regard to corruption practice involving in the elections. Alright. Now, according to this rule, the notice shall be issued to those people who are party to the election petition, and at the same time those who are not a party to it. Now, Tirath Singh contended that no such notice was issued to him under the said provision. Now, the notice were only issued to those who were non-parties to the election petitions. Now, this was challenged to be invalid on the particular grounds. The court held that what is contemplated is giving of the information, and about the information, even if it is given twice, it remains the same. The party to the petition is already having the notice regarding the petition. Therefore, section 99 of the said act is when you are applying the golden rule, it makes it very clear to understand that the notice requires to be sent against the non-parties only and not to the parties. You know, friends, this rule is also known as the rule of the reasonable construction. And why so? The reason behind reasonable construction name of the golden rule is that it reasonably construct the interpretations after application of the literal rule, which will help to understand the intentions of the legislation along with application of the plain meaning rule. So it is one of the additions to the literal rule, and that is the reason it solves many of the problems of the interpretations. That is the reason it is known, or rather it is named as the golden rule. But as we all know that no rule is perfect in its application, so it applies to golden rule also. There are certain disadvantages of the golden rule. What are these disadvantages, my friends? The judges are unable to change the or add meaning or to the statutes, and it thereby become lawmakers infringing the separation of the powers, and the judges have no power to intervene for pure injustice where there is no absurdity. That means, my friends, that the golden rule is somewhere lacking to provide us with the clear understanding, or rather the clear meaning of the existence of any extended ambiguity. It changes from case to case. And the first disadvantage meant that in this rule it tends that the judiciary is overpowering the legislation. Why? Because when the plain meaning is not being taken, the extra effort has been put to that interpretation. That means that separation of the power is somewhere hampering. That means the judiciary is trying to play the role of the lawmakers, and that would create an imbalance in the whole system which is there, and so the separation of power is not justified when you are applying this rule. But friends, as I stated that no rule is perfect, it also has certain advantages, as we know. So what are the advantages of the golden rule applications? The error in the drafting can be corrected immediately. In the case of Edlers versus George, it was held that it was claimed that the defendant was convicted of an offence contrary to Section 3 of the Official Secrets Act and in the vicinity of the prohibited place. Now, he argued that he was on the station and could not be in the vicinity of the station. The court held that the word in the vicinity of the station should be interpreted to mean on, or rather near, or any beside. So it was, then he was found guilty, of course. So that means when the words in the which are used in the statute have a limitation to put in the drafting, then that would create an absurdity in application. So when you are applying this golden rule, you are also understanding the intentions of the lawmakers, and when you are understanding the intentions of the lawmakers, that would automatically correct the errors which are there in the drafting, or rather which are lacking in the understanding. The second advantage is, my friend, is that the decisions are generally more in line with the parliament's intentions. Of course, why? Because the intention is also one of the prime importance, along with taking the primary or literal meaning or plain meaning applications of any of the statutes. The third is it closes the loopholes. It often gives more just result. Why? Because you are, of course, understanding the intentions of the legislation, so you know that why this rule was made, why the statute was provided to the public. If the statute was provided with XYZ intentions, then the intentions are clear to understand. And if you are able to understand all the intentions in the rightful way, then of course the justice will be provided in a way to better manner. It brings common sense to the law. That means, my friends, that if you are taking the plain meaning rule in its own plain meaning sense, then that would create certain hazardous results at the end. But because you are not applying your common sense when you are interpreting, but when you are applying the golden rule, you are adding something to the plain meaning, or rather the literal meaning rule. So when you are doing that, you are adding something. So what you are adding, according to the advantages given by the thinkers, is that you are adding the common sense when you are applying the golden rule. So friends, these are certain advantages of the golden rule. So as you can see, till now we did the plain meaning rule or the literal rule and the golden rule. Now comes the next is the mischief rule. So the mischief rule also is somewhere lacking in its own part. But to understand the implications of those rules, we must need to go through what do you mean by the mischief rule. Now friends, when we are understanding the mischief rule, mischief itself, the name mischief rule itself indicates the implications, or rather the meaning of this rule. Now mischief rule was originated through one of the cases which is very well known, which is known as the Hayden's case in 1584. Now before we get to the cases and its implications and why it was evolved and what were the implications of these cases, it becomes very important to understand that even in the mischief rule, the intention is taken into consideration as of the prime value, my friends. That means when the legislation is making any law, the first question according to the mischief rule that needs to be asked is what was the actual purpose of the law, and if that actual purpose is tried to be suppressed by any other legislation, then what are the existing law which would provide the remedy to that effect. So that means that this mischief rule application would try and solve all the mischief that may have taken place during making of any statutes or during the application of any statutes. So friends, let's get started with understanding of the Hayden's case. As you can see on the screen, it is a rule of the purposive construction because the purpose of the statute is most important while applying this rule. It is known as Hayden's rule, of course, because it was originated through the Hayden's case by Lord Polk in 1584. Okay, it is called as the mischief rule because it focuses on curing the mischief which is there in the statute. Now in the Hayden's case, it was held that there are four things which have to be followed for this true and sure interpretation of the statutes in general, of course. Now what are these 4 points that we need to take into consideration when we are doing the interpretation? So friends, the first rule is that what was the common law before making of any such act? If the common law and the act is having the common objective, it becomes very clear to us to interpret that why such rule was made, or rather whether that rule was made to create any, or rather to clarify any loopholes which were there in the previous law or any other meaning. Second, what was the mischief for which the present statute was enacted? That means what is the loophole in the interpretations. The third, what remedy did the parliament sought or had resolved and appointed to cure the disease of the commonwealth? That means that if through that legislation or through that statute, if the parliament has given any remedy to cure that loophole which was created by application of that statute, then what is that remedy? We must understand that part as well. The fourth point is that, my friends, that the true reason of the remedy must be taken into consideration. That means finding out the remedy is not the only motto that they are fulfilling. They are also trying to tell you that the true reason behind that remedy. So the intention of the making of the legislation need not to be taken into consideration only. We also need to understand that what was the reason behind having that remedy also. If we are able to understand the reason behind that remedy also, then the application of this rule will be made in a 100% correct way. So after having a look at all these points, we definitely can say that when any judge is trying to adopt the mischief rule in the interpretations, it is having more discretion in the application other than the plain meaning or literal meaning rule and the golden meaning rule. Alright. So you can state this part that why the judges needs to use all these tools. In the US system, my friends, there are certain criteria that they have to see. They are known as the scrutiny levels in that system. In India, we have all these rules which the judges use as a tool to interpret the statute when any ambiguity, of course, it is there. But friends, if you literally paid attention to this mischief rule, you will be able to understand that the literal rule and the golden rule were much wider in its application. Why? Because it tried to interpret in a wider sense. When you are making mischief rule applicable, you must keep in mind that it is narrower in its application. That means that it can only be used to interpret a statute, and only when the statute was passed to remedy or rather to cure any defect which was there in the previous common law. Now, that means, my friend, when you are applying the mischief rule, or rather why or when do we need to apply the mischief rule of the interpretation? To understand when and why, let's get back to one of the cases that we have on screen, that is Pyarelal versus Ramchandra. Now, Pyarelal was manufacturing the sweet supari and he was using the artificial sweetener for the supari. So that is the reason he was prosecuted in the court. The Pyarelal stated that according to the dictionary meaning of the food, supari cannot be considered as a food. So that is the reason his prosecution was challenged by him. But the court, after interpretation or after applying the mischief rule of the interpretation, it took into consideration that the only meaning of the food must not be looked into according to the dictionary, and it has to be made applicable into in a wider sense. And that is the reason the prosecution of Pyarelal was held to be valid one. So now we all know that the mischief rule also has certain disadvantages as well as the advantages as any other law of the interpretation. So what are the disadvantages of the mischief law? The mischief rule, it creates a crime after the event, thus infringing the rule of the law. So it creates the crime after the event has happened. It gives the judge a law-making role in infringing the separation of the power, exactly same as the golden rule if you can see. The judges can bring their own views and sense of morality and prejudice to a case. Why? Because they do have the liberty to interpret according to their own interpretations, because the rule, it is known as the mischief rule. So the judges definitely can have that shield when they are interpreting, that I was just trying to use my wiseness, or rather my interpretation, because this loophole was created in the statute and the remedy was trying to prosecute on the same thing, and that is the reason that I try to interpret in the same way. That will give the judges a quite a lot of the liberty to have their own views or sense of morality, or rather prejudice, both the sense in any of the cases, my friends. But along with the same thing, there are certain advantages, of course. It closes the loopholes when you are interpreting the same thing, when you are applying the mischief rule. As you can see in the Pyarelal case, it allows the law to develop and adapt a changing need, because every law needs to be changed time to time according to the needs of the society. So, if you are applying the mischief rule, you are trying to overcome the loopholes that was there previously in the act. So when you are applying this rule, you are of course trying to change the society's application, or rather the views of the society, or you are allowing a law to develop, which is quite necessary for every law. So friends, this was a very brief session on the mischief rule and the golden rule. In the next session, we shall be discussing the harmonious construction rule of the interpretations. Till then, keep learning.